Am I the asshole for telling her it's my choice to leave too, after she said, quote, my body, my choice? So I was on a marriage path with this girl. Everything lines up, so we are talking about kids and such, just planning. Out of nowhere, she tells me, quote, I would have to have my sister's baby. I go, what? Her. I will have to have my sister's baby as a surrogate. If she can't have kids, I promised her this when we were little. Me. That is a weird thing to promise, especially without consulting the guy you'll marry. Her. She has some fertility issues. What is she supposed to do? Which is weird to me because she just said that this was a promise from childhood. Like, how do you know she has fertility issues when you are 8? Me. Not sure how that is my problem, and I'm not sure why I should be okay with letting my wife having someone else's baby in my marriage. So she is advocating for having that baby in our marriage, not before marriage, while she is still single? Her? Well, it is my body. I can do that if I want to. Me. What are you talking about? You can't reserve 9 months off to have your sister's baby if we are married. Husband has a say on that decision too. That type of thing is now a marital decision. Her. My body, my choice. Me. Well, I can choose to not deal with that too. Ever thought about that? I tried to explain that it is not just having someone else's baby in our marriage, but there could be life-threatening complications during pregnancy as well, and even with no health complications. That isn't something most husbands would be okay with. But no go. She thinks she can do that because it is her sister and it is a sisterly favor. She acted like I was crazy to think the way I do. I obviously thought she was the crazy one. Who is the asshole?
I don't know who needs to hear this, but this is your reminder that sometimes the person that is weird and has no friends is that way for a reason. Story time about when I was in high school and I ended up befriending this kid who had no friends, and he ended up kind of ruining my life. I went to a pretty small high school, and like it was kind of a weird school, but like there was this one kid who had absolutely no friends, and I had a few classes with him. We didn't interact till like junior year when we got seated assigned next to each other in class, and we started talking, and I was like, oh my god, this kid is actually interesting. I actually liked him, whatever. We became friends in class, and then one day I invited him to sit with my group at lunch, and my group of friends were like the cool kids at this weird ass fucking school, and everyone was like, oh, what the fuck, why are you inviting, let's call him Jason, why are you inviting Jason to sit at our table? And I was like, just get to know him, like he's actually really cool. And they did get to know him, and everyone actually really ended up liking him, and he integrated as hell into my friend group. All the guys were friends with him. I was super happy. I was like, this is great at first. Then a couple months in, he ended up being a complete fucking dick to me, started bullying me, making these jokes to me that were just like over the line, just like really mean shit, and I would like call him out on it, and he just continued to do it, including making a song about me that like low-key went viral, and like the entire school knew about it, and he played it in music class, and he was like calling me a hoe, and it was like about how he wanted to get with me or something. And like a teacher came up to me, and she was like, you know, like that song Jason made, like you could have him suspended for that, like do you want that? And at the time, you know, I was still trying to like we all be friends, and I was like, no. But I slowly distanced myself from him, but I couldn't stop him from like being in these social gatherings because he was friends now with all of my friends, and everyone liked him. Fast forward to that summer, he asked me to play tennis because we both played tennis, and I only said yes because I did want to like hit and like not be off my game. And then afterwards, I was just gonna go home. He basically like begged me to come over to his house and like hang out, and I did for a little bit, and then I left, and he was super upset about it. And when I was at his house, this is an important detail, I logged into my IG once on my own phone, and I had to type in the password. Fast forward to 2 months into the next school year, and one of my friends, this girl Julie, had a party, and a couple days after the party, there was like this group chat on IG or something, just people saying stuff they left there, just like talking about the night, whatever. And in the group chat, it was like 30 or 40 people. This guy wrote, oh my god, Eva, like you were so drunk, or something like that, like a joke. But I thought it was funny. I was like, ha ha ha. I really didn't give a fuck. The next day I get to school, and everyone is acting super weird towards me. Like I ran into one of my guy friends in the hallway, and he like wouldn't speak to me. He was like ignoring me. I was like, all morning I was like, something weird is going on. Then comes lunch period, and I like met up with like my girls, and they were like, oh my god, did you really write that message to Steven? Someone had said earlier in the day, how could you do that to Steven? And I had no idea what anyone was talking about. I was like, what message? And one of my friends whips out her phone, and she shows me on IG in that group chat that I had written from my account this nasty ass message to our friend Steve in response to him saying I was drunk, which I would never have done. Like I really didn't care about his comment, and it was like very detailed. I think it had some like racist stuff in it. It was just like some mean shit that I would never have said. I just remember being so confused. Like that was my emotion, because it was like a Tuesday night or something when this went down. I was like, how could someone have hacked me? And my best friends were like, did you write this for real? And I was like, no. And they were like, okay, we believe you. but no one else did. And we go to lunch in the big group, guys and girls all sitting together, and everyone's like being an asshole to me, but I was like, whatever. I was just talking to my girls about it. I was just like, I'm super confused. And then this girl, Courtney, pulls me aside and she's like, I have something to tell you, but you have to promise you won't tell anyone. I'm like, okay, what is it? And she's like, Jason has had your IG password for months since the summer. He saw you type it in when you were playing tennis with him, and he logs into your account all the time and reads your messages. Bro, I was like, you're gonna expect me not to tell this? I immediately ran over to the group and I was like, fuck you, Jason. I know that you have gone through my messages. Like, you're the one that wrote that message in the group chat. Like, you're fucking psychotic. And he full on denied it, like hardcore denied it. And the way that like the other guys in the group and like people in our friend group were just like defending him and like siding with him, I was like, are you kidding? He was like, you're crazy. Like, the gaslighting was like fucking insane. And it's funny because when she was telling me this, something clicked that in my head, like sometimes in the last couple months, I would log into my IG and like see messages that I hadn't read, but they were already like clicked on. And I just thought it was a glitch or something, but it was obviously him reading his messages. And I had so much fucking personal tea on there. Obviously, you know, you're in high school, you're gossiping. And later that day, he came up to me and I was like, bro, I'm going to fucking end you. Like, you're going to get suspended. It's like cyberbullying. You can't do that. Like, it was in our student handbook or something. And he was like, if you do that, I'm going to blackmail you and tell everyone the tea that you said this and that and all this personal stuff about you. And I was like, I don't give a fuck, okay, if I said fucking Claire is annoying, okay, go the fuck ahead. He was trying to like blackmail me and lord it over me. He was like bullying me. He like slammed my locker on me, all this stuff. And I literally went to the principal and I told him, I don't give a fuck, okay? The way that evening I got text messages from my guy friends, like so mean, including one that I was really close with, being like, I knew you were a bitch, but I didn't know you were a snitch as well. To this day, literally fuck all those people. Like, my girls like stood with me and believed me, like my three best friends, and everyone else, literally fuck them and fuck the school. I don't even think they suspended him. Like, they didn't do anything. And he had slammed his locker on me too, and he didn't get like suspended for that. Like, towards the end of the year, he started to act up way too much, even with other people, and like everyone started hating him as well. And I was like, I told you so. Did I get an apology from anyone? No, I did not. Did I write a paper about this my freshman year of college and get an A+? Yes, I did.
All right, y'all want achievement? I'm just here to clear up my name because these stories that I'm hearing, they're not adding up. So if we're going to tell a story, we're going to tell it right. To start off, bro, I did not use no strap, bro. I'm 6'2", 230 pounds, bro. These are my straps. What are you talking about? All right, to start off, I get invited to a pool party in Arizona with some friends, and we're just chilling, having a good time. Next thing you know, I'm like, why is there a crowd forming right there on the side gate? And then someone's like, oh, Santos is here. I'm like, why is he here? I thought the owner of the pool party told him that he's not invited. Bro, if you're not invited to a pool party, then why show up? Especially if you know that there's people that don't with you there. Anyway, so I'm like, you guys gonna kick him out? And they're like, yeah, he's leaving. So I'm like, all right, bet. 5 minutes later, everybody's still outside. I'm like, bro, what the fuck is taking so long? So I decide to walk out there. And I'm like, you know what? I actually do have some kind of beef with this dude. So let me go put my 2 cents in. I'm walking through the crowd because, you know, I'm one of like the tallest ones there. And I'm like, hey, which one's Santos? Which one's Santos? And everybody's tapping him. And I'm like, it's him. It's him. I don't want to the wrong dude. Is it him? Then some security is like, hey, bro, chill. And I'm like, bro, move out the way before you get out too. Bro literally moves out the way, and I'm like, you're Santos? He's like, yeah, bro, chill with my family. I'm like, bro, your family, bro. I did not slap him. I did not pull out a strap on him, but he did fall to the ground because you know what happened. The reason this beef all started was because I went live with his ex, Des. I had no idea who she was the very first time we went live, and he would join my lives talking shit about her, and I'm like, who is this dude? And she's like, oh, that's my ex. I'm like, okay, so I just left the live. Next 2 days, I go to the warehouse to package your guys' orders, the coquette, and I'm just a girl. And bro hops on my live talking shit, talking about you need to sell merch to make money. I'm like, bro, this is for my fucking supporters. What are you talking about? Anyway, so he's over here talking shit about my live. I click on his name. It says follow back. I'm like, bro, you're a fan. Why are you hating on me if you're a fan? Bro unfollows, and he's like, nah, it's up now. I'm like, all right, I have no beef with no one, but bro, you do not want to mess with me, bro. Deadass, I'm pretty big. He wants to do a boxing match for $10,000, bro. That'd be the easiest payday of my life. But then if you think about it, I'd be giving more attention to someone who does not deserve it. So I stay in the Bay Area, bro. I don't know what to tell you.
Me and my friend were in Guatemala last summer, and we almost got kidnapped. We almost got human trafficked. Me and my friend go to this restaurant that turns into like a club after a certain time. She came up to me and my friend and she asked us if we were a couple or if we were just friends, and we were like, we're just friends. First red flag is that it was hot in Guatemala and she was wearing a turtleneck. So after I told her that we were just friends, she proceeded to ask us if she could hang out with us because she didn't know anyone there and she didn't want to be alone. And you know, me and my friend being girls, we were like, of course, girl, like come hang out with us. Second red flag, she said she was from the area, but yet she didn't know anyone there. So so you know, guys are buying us drinks, and I'm not a big drinker, so I kind of just like sit around with the drink. I don't really be drinking the drinks. I kind of just hold them. So I don't know if she thought I was drunk, but all night she kept asking us, are we okay, are we okay, are we okay? And I was just like, yeah, like I'm fine. And I don't know if she was asking that to see if we were drunk. Every time guys would come up to us and try to give us drinks, she would get kind of annoyed, and she would be like, are y'all good, are y'all good, like do you want me to say something to them? And we're like, no, like chill. Number I'm on, but red flag number 200, she never asked us for our names, and she never gave us her name. So me and my friend, we never planned to stay there long, and so we ended up staying longer than we would have because we didn't want to leave this girl alone. At some point, she said she needed to use the bathroom, so you know, the girl system, we all went. My friend, we waited outside because we didn't have to go. I remember checking my phone, it was exactly 11:54. I told my friend, I was like, we're leaving at 12, because like I said, we had already been there longer than we wanted to be. But when she comes out, I'm like, hey, like we're leaving at 12. She was kind of like, oh, like why are you guys leaving so soon? I'm just like, we're tired, like we weren't even supposed to be here this long. Back to like the dance floor. This place was really big, so they had like 4 different bars, and they had a bar near the bathroom. I was walking beside her, and my friend was up front because she was like recording videos for Instagram. I was with, remember, who claimed that she didn't know anyone there, intentionally bumped into these 2 big guys at that back bar. And I'm observing all this because one thing about me, I'm very, very observant, especially on vacations, because I listen to a lot of Crime Junkie, y'all, and they're not about to get me. So I see them look at each other in almost agreement. When I tell you, like, I felt chills, like instant panic mode. I immediately felt in danger. And I think she noticed that I picked up on that, because she starts grabbing me by the neck, and she's like, are you okay? Like in Spanish, obviously, she's like, ¿Estás bien? ¿Estás bien? I'm like, yeah, like I'm fine. And I'm trying to get my friend's attention, but she's kind of like, you know, out of it. She was more drunk. I was saying my friend actually caught it on video where she's grabbing me by the neck, and you can see the fear on my face. I catch up to my friend, and I tell her immediately, I'm like, we have to go. She just looked at those men like, we have to go now. My friend, she understood the assignment because she sobered up real quick. She started running to the door, and the girl had actually grabbed my friend's hand, and she was trying to pull her to the dance floor, and I was already like out of the door because I didn't realize she had grabbed my friend, trying to pull her back to the dance floor. Friend, like I said, she was on it, and she told her like very aggressively, like, we're leaving. And then the girl like let go of the hand, and we ran out. And in Guatemala, they have like these little tuk-tuks, which are like little Uber things. So we just hopped in on one, and we were out of there. But yeah, it was super scary. And always trust your intuition, because when I saw that exchange of looks, when I tell you that God was speaking to me and saying, get out of there, I mean that.
This doctor was so obsessed with one of his patients that when she passed away, he stole her body and kept her as his bride for years. This was the 1930s. Carl Tanler was a doctor working in the tuberculosis unit of the hospital, which is where Carl met the beautiful 22-year-old Elena Helen Milagro, who was tragically suffering with tuberculosis, which had no cure at the time. 55-year-old Carl became immediately obsessed with the beautiful 22-year-old Helen. Carl actually claims that since he was a young child, he saw visions of the woman that he was destined to be with, and that it was Helen. So he says. But Helen doesn't really want anything to do with Carl other than him just treating her. I mean, the poor woman is suffering from a fatal disease. Dude, she has more shit to worry about. But like I said, Carl is obsessed with Helen. He says that she is the love of his life, and he is determined to save her. But tragically, Carl was unable to save Helen, and she ended up passing away, which Carl says left him absolutely heartbroken. He insisted on paying for Helen's entire funeral and an above ground mausoleum for her. Helen's family agreed to let Carl pay for these things, but what they did not know was that Carl had the only key to Helen's tomb. For the next 2 years, Carl says that he visited Helen's tomb every single night, trying to preserve her body with chemicals. And after 2 years of this, he says that Helen's body started to talk to him, asking him to take her home. And so that's exactly what Carl did. He stole Helen's body and brought her to his house after she had already been passed away for over 2 years. Carl created glass eyes for her, paper mache silk to look like skin, and even more things just to make Helen appear more like she did when she was still alive. And then Carl kept Helen's body in his bed for the next 7 years. He slept next to her, he kissed her, plus some things I'm not even gonna say, but I'm sure you can guess. And to have your body disrespected like that for almost a decade is just disgusting. I'm not exactly sure how, but I'm guessing it had something to do with the smell. But there were rumors about what Carl was doing throughout the town, which got back to Helen's family, who called the police. Which is how this all finally came to light and Carl was arrested. But unfortunately, by the time that Carl was arrested, the statute of limitations was already up for the crimes that he committed, so he had to be let go with zero repercussions for what he had done. This case really blew up in the media, so much in fact, and this is really gonna piss you guys off, but Helen's body was put on display for people that were interested in this case to go look at. Actually, over 7,000 people went to look at Helen's body like she was some kind of attraction. There's even photos online of what Helen's body looked like after Carl had been disrupting her and defiling her for almost a decade. I'm not going to show you. If you wanted to find them, they're online. I'm only mentioning it because I know if I didn't, the comments will. This case honestly really pisses me off so much because this poor girl passed away so young and then her body was defiled by this creepy man for almost a decade and then put on display for people like she was some kind of attraction. And then once they finally did put her to rest, they had to put her at an unmarked grave so people wouldn't try to mess with her body even more. So this poor girl can't even be laid to rest under a grave that has her name on it. It's devastating. This case is honestly just filled with so many really upsetting, frustrating details. Carl actually had a lot of supporters after all this came to light, many whom were women who wanted to date or sleep with him. But as far as we know, he never took anyone up on that offer because he lived alone until he died with a life-size Helen doll that he had made, because he's just so disgusting. Before Carl died, he even wrote a book about this. So not only did he not suffer any consequences for what he did to Helen, he actually made money off of it. If you watched the end of this video, thank you so much. I know it was kind of longer than I usually do. Some of you guys have been asking me for some longer videos, so I decided to give it a shot. Let me know if you liked it or if you prefer the 3-minute mark that I usually try to stick around.
I'm gonna tell you guys about one of the scariest moments of my life. So I'm about 25, I think, and I'm living alone. It's my first time living alone. No brothers, no parents, no boyfriend. I'm alone. And so I am fully equipped. I got, my pepper spray on my nightstand. I got a hammer. I always slept with a hammer on my nightstand. So I'm ready for anything. I lock my bedroom door, etc. So it's about 4 a.m. in the morning and, or middle of the night, whatever you want to call it. Someone starts banging on my door, boom, 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 boom. Loud enough to wake me up, and I'm like, I check the time, and I'm like, oh my god, who's at my door? What's happening? So I didn't have a Ring camera or anything like that yet. I just had your good old doorbell. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm checking my phone. I'm trying to call someone real quick, call my dad, call my mom. No one's answering, so they can just tell me what to do. And so I'm like a girl in a movie. I go towards the sound, and so I go downstairs and I peep through the peephole, and I'm like, who is at my front door? So I check the peephole, and it's this older lady, and she's just kind of wide-eyed. Turn the light on or whatever, but that didn't freak her out, or she didn't do anything. And so now I got a Ring camera after this. So even though my parents have told me, especially my mom, a zillion times, don't open the door for strangers, don't ever open the door, la la la, and I'm yeah, duh, I got it, I'll never do that. I opened the door Because I'm like, I don't know, like, what if she needs help? Like, la la la. But it could have been a trap. I wait a long time, by the way. I'm calling every family member in my house. Nobody answers. I'm like, seriously? I could be dying right now, and none of you are helping me or telling me what to do. I call Riker. I call Mom. I go down Rocky, Ross. I call every brother. I'm just like, seriously? Thanks for the help, guys. And so I open the door, and she literally is standing there, again, wide-eyed, and she goes, why are you in my house? Oh my god, that makes my eyes water. Anyway, like, literally, I was like, I'm sorry, you have the wrong house. And I slammed the door, lock, lock, lock. And I keep trying to call everybody, but why are you in my house? I was like, oh my god, did that give you chills? I was like, okay, literally, again, I'm still trying to call everybody. Nobody cares that I'm about to get murdered. Then she like stays at the front door, and I'm like just kind of just looking through the windows, looking through everything to see what this girl's gonna do. She starts going around to like the backyard, and she's like, I can see her in the sliding door, and I'm like, oh my god, she's gonna come in. And she's like dangling, like, I'm like, she's gonna come in the house. Oh my god, no one's answering still. So then finally, my landlady lives like on the property I was renting from her. She lives in like the guest house, so I call her. She is a sassy little lady. I love her so much. She starts like shouting out her window, and she's like, get off my property, la 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 la. And then finally the woman leaves. I don't know what happened after that. I don't think I went back to sleep, that's for sure. I mostly was just laughing because like literally 100 times my mom's like, don't ever open the door for strangers, like even during the day, you know, like don't open it. And I still opened it. Like, Raydell, first time listening to your mother. What are you doing? So again, nobody is answering my calls. I keep calling my family because I'm just like freaking spooked. So spooked, still freaking out. Can't go to sleep. And I'm like, what if she comes back? Or what if she's like over my bed while I'm asleep? I'm like, oh my god, like I don't know what's happening. I'm just thinking of all these what ifs. So I feel like my parents finally answered their phones at about like 6 a.m. or something like that. And I like tell them the whole thing. I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, why don't you have your phone on for your daughter that lives alone? Like in case of emergency. And this is what my dad said. My dad goes, well, what could I have done? Like, I live 20 minutes away. Like, I couldn't have helped you anyway. I'm like, Dad, oh my god. I'm like, I could have died. And I'm like, why didn't, I'm like, you could have just like answered and talked me through it, like calmed me down. He's like, oh, I couldn't have done anything. Wow, such a Mark Lynch answer. So after that, I bought a Ring camera immediately. Riker came and installed it for me, but I never had any problems after that. Like, no one came to my door. And I never saw the lady again, so hopefully she's okay. And so scary. The scariest part is that she's like, why are you in my house? Literally, oh my god, still freaks me out. It keeps me up at night.
Am I the astronaut for walking out of the bridal salon when I found out my friends were making fun of me behind my back? I have two friends, Gabby and Shelly. All three of us are 23, if that matters. We were roommates in college and stayed in the same city after graduation. While the three of us are close, I've always known that Gabby and Shelly are the closest. They have a really sweet friendship. Shelly is getting married. Gabby is the maid of honor, and I'm one of the bridesmaids. Over the weekend, I went with Shelly so she could look at wedding dresses. Gabby was supposed to come with us, but got called into work last minute. I helped Shelly pick out some dresses, then she went with the consultant to try them on. Shelly asked that I take pictures and videos on her phone to send to her mom and Gabby. I was getting the camera ready when a text from Gabby came through. I didn't mean to click on it and was instantly going to click back out when I saw one of my Instagram pictures in their private chat from earlier that morning. Both were making fun of me for the face I was making and my outfit choice. It didn't appear to be of very good nature. I admit curiosity got the best of me, so I searched my name in chat. I found multiple pictures that I, my boyfriend, or my mom have posted of myself, absolutely ripping them to shreds, ranging from selfies to posed shots to even a few baby pictures. They'd also make fun of me in general in terms of the way I talked, wore my hair, and the way I ate. This went back as far as I could tell, at least a year. My heart broke. It all felt so juvenile and high school. While we all joke around, I would never do this to them, nor have they ever even tried to initiate those types of conversations with me about the other one-on-one. I was in tears. As someone who was bullied all through middle and high school, it just brought me back to a horrible place. I put the phone in Shelly's purse and brought it to another employee, telling her to tell Shelly that I had to go. I drove home and had a long cry. Shelly texted me by the time I made it home asking where I went. I said I was going home and we could talk later. When she did call a few hours later, she was understandably confused and hurt that I left. I told her what I found, explained that I only looked further because of the initial text that I accidentally saw. She went off on me for looking through her private text, and so those were none of my business. She also told me I shouldn't have left the store without saying anything. I said I didn't want to make a scene, but also knew that I couldn't fake being happy for her. Shelly told me the texts were all in good fun, and clearly she loves me because I'm going to be her bridesmaid. She added that I'm only hurt because I chose to read all of those texts. Later on, Gabby called to tell me that I invaded Shelly's privacy and hurt her by walking out. My boyfriend and mom think I did the right thing by walking out, but obviously they're a little biased. I just want some unbiased looks. Was I an asshole to look through the texts and then leave? Basically, all the comments on Reddit said, these people are not your friends, drop out of the wedding and go no contact, and absolutely, I agree. The question here is, am I the astronaut for walking out of the bridal salon when I found out my friends were making fun of me behind my back? Hell no.
This guy met my apartment complex that turned out to be a weirdo. I had met this guy in my gym last year in like July, right? I always go to my apartment gym and I would always have to bring Lennon with me because I had nobody to watch her. He had come up to me mid-workout to tell me that she was cute and asked me her name and basically asked me what was my name. He told me that she was so cute and that her name was super unique. And then I saw him in the gym every so often. I started going to different workout classes, so I wasn't at my apartment gym the way that I was going, so I didn't see him that often. I'd see him here and there in our apartment complex, and he would like catch me at the park when I was there with my kids, and he would just come up and say, hey. Never really asked for my number or anything like that, so I didn't think he was interested, and I definitely wasn't. Long story short, I saw him at my pool yesterday, and I could tell that he was looking at me. I could tell that he was like feeling it out. He went into the gym, literally turned right back around after he saw me, went straight back to his house, put his bathing suit on, came back to the pool. Then he put his stuff in the cabana next to my cabana. I had Lennon's pool on the ground, so it was obvious that that was mine because I was the only person there with a kid. Anyway, he gets in the pool. I get out and I'm going to breastfeed Lennon because it's time for her nap. She had skipped her nap. I lay down with her on the chair in the cabana, and he literally swam from the other side of the pool up next to my cabana, and I'm clearly breastfeeding her. And he just starts making small talk like a iguana was walking past us, and he was like, oh, watch out, he might get you. So anyway, by this time, Lennon had fallen asleep, and I'm getting up and I'm going back in the pool. And he starts making another small talk conversation with me. So then my two friends come over that I'm with at my pool, and we all start talking. We get out of the pool. He's like, does anybody want a beer? So he goes back to his house, grabs like a couple beers or whatever, and brings them to the pool after I had told him that I didn't want one because I have my daughter, and if you know me, you know I don't drink around my kids. If I'm drinking, I need to be drinking to get drunk, not wasting my time on a beer. So anyway, he gives beers to my one friend. My other friend doesn't drink. She's in recovery. He then asks me for my phone number in front of my friends, and I was like, sure, because we were talking about like songs and what type of music we liked, and he was claiming he didn't know what indie folk was because that's like the type of music that I just love. And he was like, oh, I don't know those, can you like text them to me? He texted me when we left the pool because we were like after an hour of us talking to him. I'm like, all right guys, we gotta go. I was at the pool from like 11 o'clock in the afternoon to 5 o'clock at night. Got home, he had texted me and was like, hey, I think you forgot to send me the song. So I texted him the song. When I was at the pool right before we left, I said, what's your last name? Because I have a lot of his names in my phone. And he told me Jones. So right off the bat, I was like, that's weird, because it took him like a second to tell me his last name. It almost seemed like something was off with that. Or 2 hours later, I get a notification on Snapchat that he's like my friend, whatever. He wants to be my friend. So I don't know if he knows this or not, but like, dude, your name and then your last name is on Snapchat. So I had searched that Snapchat name and I find him on Facebook because I couldn't find him prior with the last name that he gave me. Snapchat came up on my phone. I was like, I wonder if that's his last name. So I looked it up and it was his last name. So I told my friends, I'm like, he lied to me about his last name. And they were like, who cares, Kayla? They're like, you're crazy. So I did a little digging, which didn't take much effort. And I clearly see that he's married. He is full on married. I go on his wife's profile He's the profile picture of them at their wedding. It seems like they've been together a while. So I'm just like in shock. I'm like, wow, this guy is a piece of shit. Like, obviously I'm cutting communication off. He literally in that moment texted me and was like, hey, do you want to meet me downstairs for a glass of wine? And he literally sent me a picture of 2 wine glasses, the bottle of wine, and he's sitting at the pool. And I responded and I was like, did you lie to me about your last name? And he responded and he was like, yes, I can explain. And I'm like, go for it. Because in my eyes, once you lie to me, that's a wrap. So anyway, he tells me that he lied about his last name and told me that the reason that he lied is because he used to have a stalker situation and he was scared that that would happen again. Number 2, it was clear he was lying because he didn't want me to look him up on Facebook and figure out that he was married. So basically he was like, if you came downstairs tonight and had a drink with me, I was going to open up to you and tell you all of that. Bullshit. Told him I was like not interested at all in even communicating as friends just because like you're married. He tried to give me the excuse of like, oh, she's in Pennsylvania, she's not here. I don't understand why 2 people that were attracted to each other couldn't like just hang out and have good conversation. Sir, you are married. Like, the fact you want to drink with me at the pool at night is a red flag in itself. And he basically said like, oh, since you told me you were moving on Friday, I figured I had nothing to lose. So because I'm moving, you feel comfortable to like hang out with me so that like I never see your wife here? When I tell you the guys in South Florida are basically all like this, they are all liars and manipulators.